31 conspiracy theories that turn out true. Here's something they don't want you to think about. Sometimes the paranoid people are right. We're not talking about lizard people or flat earth nonsense. We're talking about conspiracies that sounded insane, that got people labeled as crazy, that were dismissed as paranoid delusions, until documents were declassified, whistleblowers came forward, and the truth became undeniable. This is about governments lying, corporations poisoning people, experiments on citizens, and cover-ups that lasted decades. Because if history teaches us anything, it's that conspiracy theory is sometimes just spoiler alert. Let that sink in. 1. MKUltra, CIA mind control experiments. What if the government actually drugged people without consent to study mind control? In the 1950s, 70s, the CIA ran Project MKUltra, a program testing mind control techniques using LSD, hypnosis, torture, and sensory deprivation on unwitting subjects. They dosed prisoners, mental patients, and even CIA employees without consent. One scientist, Frank Olson, was given LSD without his knowledge and jumped out a window 9 days later. His family believes he was murdered. The program involved 80 institutions, including universities and hospitals. In 1973, CIA Director Richard Helms ordered all MKUltra files destroyed. But in 1975, Congress discovered surviving documents during the Church Committee investigations. The CIA admitted it happened, apologized, and claimed it ended. Thousands were experimented on. Many suffered permanent psychological damage. The conspiracy theorists were right. The government was literally dosing citizens with LSD to see if they could control minds. 2. COINTELPRO, FBI surveillance and sabotage. Here's a lesson in your government spying on and sabotaging its own citizens. From 1956 to 1971, the FBI ran COINTELPRO, counterintelligence program, which infiltrated, surveilled, and sabotaged political organizations including civil rights groups, anti-war activists, and socialist organizations. They used illegal wiretaps, forged documents, planted false media stories, and incited violence between groups. The FBI sent Martin Luther King Jr. an anonymous letter suggesting he commit suicide before receiving the Nobel Prize. They infiltrated the Black Panthers and may have facilitated Fred Hampton's assassination in 1969. The program was exposed in 1971 when activists broke into an FBI office in Media, Pennsylvania, and leaked documents to the press. Congressional investigations confirmed it. The FBI wasn't protecting Americans. They were targeting citizens for their political beliefs. Domestic terrorism by the government itself. 3. Tuskegee syphilis study, medical racism. What if doctors let black men die to study untreated syphilis? From 1932 to 1972, the U.S. Public Health Service conducted the Tuskegee study on 600 black men in Alabama, 399 with syphilis. The men were told they were being treated for bad blood. They weren't. Doctors deliberately withheld treatment, even after penicillin became the standard cure in 1947. For 40 years, doctors watched these men suffer blindness, insanity, organ damage, and death, and infected their wives and children. The men were never told they had syphilis. In 1972, whistleblower Peter Buxton leaked the story to the press, causing public outrage. President Clinton formally apologized in 1997. 128 men died directly from syphilis or related complications. It wasn't a conspiracy theory. It was documented medical experimentation on Black Americans for 4 decades. Racism as research protocol. 4. Operation Northwoods, false flag attack plans. Here's proof the military considered staging terrorist attacks on Americans. In 1962, the Joint Chiefs of Staff proposed Operation Northwoods to President Kennedy, a plan to stage fake Cuban attacks on Americans to justify invading Cuba. Proposals included bombing U.S. ships and blaming Cuba, staging fake terrorist attacks in U.S. cities, shooting down a passenger plane with CIA agents posing as college students, and creating a fake, remember the main incident. Kennedy rejected it. The documents remained classified until 1997 when the JFK Assassination Records Review Board declassified them. The military establishment was willing to kill Americans to justify war. This wasn't fringe conspiracy, it was official Pentagon planning. Kennedy said no. What happens when someone says yes? False flags aren't theory, they're documented contingency plans. 5. The Gulf of Tonkin incident. Fake attacks started a war. What if the event that justified the Vietnam War didn't actually happen? On August 4, 1964, the U.S. claimed North Vietnamese boats attacked the USS Maddox in the Gulf of Tonkin. President Johnson used this to get congressional approval for the Vietnam War. Decades later, declassified NSA documents revealed the second attack never happened. It was radar ghosts and nervous sonar operators. Defense Secretary Robert McNamara admitted in 1995 that the attack was fabricated. The first incident on August 2 did occur, but the U.S. ship was supporting South Vietnamese attacks on North Vietnam. We provoked it. The attack that justified years of war, 58,000 American deaths, and millions of Vietnamese casualties was a lie. Congress authorized war based on fiction. Conspiracy theorists called it immediately. They were right 30 years early. 6. Iran-Contra affair, arms for hostages and cocaine. Here's a lesson in the government funding wars with drug money. In the 1980s, the Reagan administration secretly sold weapons to Iran, despite an arms embargo, to fund Nicaraguan Contra rebels, despite Congress banning funding. To generate additional cash, the CIA allegedly facilitated cocaine trafficking into the U.S., particularly affecting black communities and fueling the crack epidemic. Journalist Gary Webb exposed the drug connection in his Dark Alliance series in 1996. He was destroyed professionally and found dead in 2004 with 2 gunshot wounds to the head, ruled a suicide. Congressional hearings confirmed the arms for hostages scheme. CIA Inspector General reports admitted assets were involved in drug trafficking. Oliver North was convicted but pardoned. The government sold weapons to enemies, funded illegal wars, and flooded American cities with drugs. All proven, all real. 7. Watergate, presidential burglary and cover-up. What if the president ordered a break-in and then tried to cover it up? In 1972, burglars broke into the Democratic National Committee headquarters at the Watergate complex. The Nixon administration dismissed it as a third-rate burglary. Journalists Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein, using the anonymous source Deep Throat, revealed the break-in was ordered by Nixon's re-election committee. Nixon participated in the cover-up, using the CIA to obstruct the FBI investigation. The Washington Post was called Conspiracy Theorists and Partisan Hacks. Then the tapes came out. Nixon had recorded himself planning the cover-up. He resigned in 1974 before impeachment. Deep Throat was revealed in 2005 as FBI Associate Director Mark Felt. The conspiracy theorists were right. The president was a criminal running a cover-up from the Oval Office. Journalism defeated power. 8. Tobacco companies knew smoking caused cancer. Here's proof corporations lied for decades while killing millions. Tobacco companies knew since the 1950s that smoking caused cancer. Internal documents showed they deliberately hid the evidence, paid scientists to produce contradictory studies, and lied to Congress. In 1994, tobacco CEOs testified under oath that nicotine wasn't addictive, a blatant lie. In 1998, the Master Settlement Agreement revealed thousands of internal documents proving the cover-up. Tobacco companies had research proving cigarettes caused cancer, emphysema, and heart disease, and they buried it. They targeted children with advertising. They knew, they lied, and they killed millions. People who said big tobacco is hiding the truth were mocked as conspiracy theorists. Turns out they were investigative journalists. The conspiracy was real, and it lasted 50 years. 9. The Lavon Affair, Israeli false flag in Egypt. What if a country staged terrorist attacks and blamed someone else? In 1954, Israeli military intelligence recruited Egyptian Jews to plant bombs in American and British-owned targets in Egypt, planning to blame the Muslim Brotherhood and Egyptian communists. The goal? Damage Egypt's relationship with the West. The operation failed when the bombs went off early and the operatives were caught. Israel denied involvement for 51 years. In 2005, Israel officially admitted responsibility and honored the surviving agents. This wasn't theory, it was documented false flag terrorism. Governments stage attacks and blame enemies. Operation Northwoods makes more sense in this context. False flags aren't paranoia, they're historical precedent. 10. The business plot, Wall Street's attempted coup. What if wealthy industrialists tried to overthrow FDR? In 1933, retired Marine General Smedley Butler testified to Congress that wealthy businessmen approached him to lead a coup against President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The plotters, allegedly including members of the DuPont and J.P. Morgan families, wanted to install a fascist government and remove FDR's New Deal policies. Butler reported the conspiracy instead of joining it. The House Un-American Activities Committee investigated and confirmed the existence of the plot, calling it a planned coup. No one was prosecuted. Media outlets owned by the alleged conspirators downplayed the story. It disappeared from history, but the congressional report is public record. Wealthy elites literally tried to overthrow American democracy because they didn't like economic regulations. Fascism almost happened in America. 11. NSA mass surveillance. They're listening to everything. What if the government is collecting every phone call, email, and text? After September 11th, people who said the government was spying on all Americans were called paranoid conspiracy theorists. Then in 2013, Edward Snowden leaked classified NSA documents proving it. The NSA was collecting phone records of millions of Americans, intercepting internet communications, and working with tech companies to access data. Programs like PRISM collected data from Google, Facebook, Apple, and Microsoft. The NSA lied to Congress. Director James Clapper committed perjury when he said the NSA didn't collect data on Americans. Snowden fled to Russia and was charged with espionage. Courts later ruled the surveillance illegal. Everything that paranoid people said was true. The government has access to your calls, emails, texts, and internet history. Mass surveillance is real. They're watching. 12. The FBI killed Fred Hampton. Here's a government-sanctioned assassination of a civil rights leader. On December 4, 1969, Chicago police raided Black Panther leader Fred Hampton's apartment and killed him in his bed. Police claimed it was a shootout. Investigators found police fired 90 to 99 shots. The Panthers fired one. Hampton had been drugged by an FBI informant, William O'Neill, who provided the apartment layout. The FBI coordinated the raid as part of COINTELPRO to neutralize Black Panther leadership. Survivors sued and in 1982 won a $1.85 million settlement, with the court finding the FBI and police guilty of obstruction of justice. The FBI assassinated a 21-year-old civil rights leader in his sleep. People who said it was government murder were vindicated 13 years later. State-sponsored assassination on American soil. 13. Operation Mockingbird. CIA controls the media. What if the CIA was paying journalists to publish propaganda? During the Cold War, the CIA ran Operation Mockingbird, recruiting journalists and media organizations to publish CIA propaganda as news. The program influenced over 25 major newspapers and wire services. Journalists were on the CIA payroll. Stories were planted to shape public opinion on foreign and domestic issues. The Church Committee investigations in 1975 exposed the program. The CIA admitted to relationships with journalists but claimed it stopped. Declassified documents show it was extensive and ongoing for decades. The conspiracy theory that the CIA controls media narratives was documented fact. How much continues today is unknown, but the infrastructure was built and proven. When you read news, remember, intelligence agencies have a history of writing it. 14. Big Oil knew about climate change in the 1970s. Here's proof fossil fuel companies lied about destroying the planet. Exxon's own scientists warned executives in 1977 that burning fossil fuels would cause catastrophic climate change. Internal memos and research reports predicted rising temperatures, melting ice caps, and sea level rise with stunning accuracy. Instead of acting, Exxon funded climate denial groups, paid scientists to cast doubt, and lobbied against climate action for decades. Investigative journalism in 2015 revealed internal documents proving the cover-up. Other oil companies, Shell, BP, Chevron, also knew. They lied to the public and governments while knowing they were causing an existential threat. People who said big oil is hiding climate data were mocked. They were right. Corporations knowingly destroyed the planet for profit. The conspiracy was real and ongoing. 15. The Dreyfus Affair. French military framed an innocent man. What if the military fabricated evidence to convict someone they didn't like? In 1894, French Jewish Army officer Alfred Dreyfus was convicted of treason for allegedly passing secrets to Germany. The evidence was forged. The military knew. Anti-Semitism drove the conviction. Dreyfus was sent to Devil's Island. Writer Émile Zola published Jacques in 1898, exposing the military conspiracy and cover-up. Zola was convicted of libel and fled to England. In 1906, Dreyfus was fully exonerated. The military had framed him. The real spy, Ferdinand Walsen Esterhazy, was protected by military officials. The conspiracy theory that Dreyfus was framed turned out to be a documented military and government conspiracy. Institutional anti-Semitism and cover-up at the highest levels. Truth took 12 years to emerge. 16. Project Sunshine. Government stole dead bodies for radiation tests. Here's a nightmare. The government stealing dead babies to test radiation. In the 1950s, 60s, the U.S. government secretly collected body parts from deceased people, including babies, without family consent to measure strontium, 90 levels from nuclear fallout. They wanted to understand how much radiation humans absorbed from nuclear tests. Hospitals and funeral homes cooperated, taking tissue samples without informing families. Thousands of bodies were involved globally. The project remained classified until the 1990s. No consent, no notification, no apology for decades. Parents buried children not knowing the government had harvested their organs. People who suspected government medical theft were dismissed as crazy. They were correct. Your dead child might have been government property without your knowledge. 17. The Mafia-CIA alliance to kill Castro. What if the CIA hired the Mafia to assassinate a world leader? In the early 1960s, the CIA recruited Mafia figures, Sam Giancana, Santo Trafficani Jr., Johnny Rosselli, to assassinate Fidel Castro. The plots included poisoned cigars, exploding seashells, and contaminated diving suits. All attempts failed. The Church Committee in 1975 revealed CIA Mafia cooperation. The CIA worked with organized crime to commit murder. The same mobsters had ties to Kennedy's assassination, leading to decades of speculation about blowback. The conspiracy theory that the CIA and Mafia worked together was documented fact. Intelligence agencies partnered with criminals for political assassination. The plots were real, absurd, and dangerous. The government Mafia alliance isn't fiction. 18. Phoebus Cartel, light bulbs designed to fail. What if companies conspired to make products break faster? In 1924, major light bulb manufacturers, Philips, Osram, General Electric, formed the Phoebus Cartel to limit bulb lifespans to 1,000 hours. Bulbs lasting longer were fined. They engineered planned obsolescence to sell more bulbs. The cartel controlled 90% of global bulb sales. It dissolved in 1939 due to World War II, but the practice continued. A bulb in a California fire station has burned since 1901, over 120 years. Modern bulbs fail because they're designed to. The conspiracy theory that companies make products fail deliberately was proven in cartel documents. Planned obsolescence is real, documented, and continues. Your products die on schedule because corporations profit from it. 19. Asbestos cover-up. Johns Manville knew it killed workers. Here's proof a company hid that its product was lethally toxic. Johns Manville, the largest asbestos manufacturer, knew since the 1930s that asbestos caused deadly lung diseases, asbestosis and mesothelioma. Internal documents showed they hid research, paid doctors to produce favorable studies, and suppressed evidence. Workers died gasping for air with scarred lungs. In the 1970s, lawsuits revealed the cover-up. The company declared bankruptcy in 1982 to shield assets while facing 16,000 lawsuits. Tens of thousands died from asbestos exposure. The conspiracy to hide asbestos dangers lasted 50 years. People who claimed Johns Manville was killing workers were dismissed. They were right. Corporate profit prioritized over worker lives, with full knowledge of the deaths caused. 20. FBI and NYPD framed the Central Park Five. What if the police coerced confessions from innocent teenagers? In 1989, 5 Black and Latino teenagers were convicted of raping a jogger in Central Park. They confessed after hours of interrogation without lawyers or parents. No physical evidence linked them. In 2002, serial rapist Matias Reyes confessed, and DNA confirmed he acted alone. The five had been imprisoned for 6 to 13 years for a crime they didn't commit. In 2014, New York settled for $41 million. The conspiracy theory that police coerced false confessions was proven. The justice system railroaded innocent kids because of racism and public pressure. Prosecutors, including Linda Fairstein, built careers on false convictions. Wrongful conviction as systemic conspiracy. 21. Bayer sold HIV-contaminated products. What if a pharmaceutical company knowingly sold HIV-infected medicine? In the 1980s, Bayer's hemophilia medication was contaminated with HIV. When they discovered it, they stopped selling it in the US and sold the contaminated stock to Asia and Latin America. Thousands contracted HIV and died. Documents revealed Bayer knew and sold it anyway to avoid financial loss. In 2003, internal documents leaked, proving the conspiracy. Bayer paid settlements but faced minimal consequences. They knowingly infected people with HIV for profit. The conspiracy theory that pharmaceutical companies value profit over lives was demonstrated with body counts. Corporate manslaughter on a global scale. Intentional infection for financial gain. 22. Bohemian Grove. Elite secret society gatherings. What if powerful men really do meet in the woods for weird rituals? Bohemian Grove is a 2,700-acre campground in California where powerful politicians, businessmen, and celebrities gather annually for 2 weeks. For decades, it was dismissed as conspiracy theory. Then journalists infiltrated and documented it. Members include presidents, CEOs, and military leaders. They perform a ritual called cremation of care before a 40-foot owl statue. Nixon called it the most faggy goddamn thing you could ever imagine. Members have included every Republican president since 1923, plus Democrats and business elites. Policy discussions happen off-record. The Bohemian Grove conspiracy is real. It's an exclusive club where elites network away from public scrutiny. The rituals are theatrical, but the power networking is very real. 23. The FBI spied on Einstein. What if the government surveilled one of history's greatest scientists? The FBI maintained a 1,427-page file on Albert Einstein from 1933 until his death in 1955, suspecting him of communist sympathies. J. Edgar Hoover considered Einstein a national security threat because of his pacifism and support for civil rights. Agents followed him, intercepted his mail, tapped his phone, and pressured universities and organizations. In 2002, the FBI file was released under FOIA. Einstein was never a communist, never a threat, just a scientist who opposed nuclear weapons and supported social justice. The government spied on Einstein because he had opinions. Surveillance of political dissidents isn't new. Genius doesn't protect you from state paranoia. 24. Big Sugar blamed fat instead. Here's proof the sugar industry paid scientists to lie. In the 1960s, the Sugar Research Foundation, now Sugar Association, paid Harvard scientists to publish research blaming fat, not sugar, for heart disease. The scientists downplayed sugar's role and emphasized fat and cholesterol. This shaped decades of dietary guidelines, leading to low-fat diets that increased sugar consumption and worsened obesity and diabetes epidemics. In 2016, researchers discovered internal sugar industry documents proving the conspiracy. The industry paid for favorable research and buried unfavorable studies. The conspiracy theory that Big Sugar manipulated science was proven. Decades of bad dietary advice, millions with diabetes, an obesity crisis, because sugar companies paid for lies. Profits over public health, scientifically orchestrated. 25. The Tuskegee Airmen were sabotaged by their own military. What if the U.S. military tried to ensure black pilots failed? During World War II, the Tuskegee Airmen, black military pilots, were given inferior planes, inadequate training, and deliberately set up to fail to prove black men couldn't be pilots. Despite sabotage, they became one of the most successful fighter groups, escorting bombers with fewer losses than any other unit. The conspiracy to make them fail was documented in military records. Racism as official policy. The Tuskegee Airmen succeeded despite institutional sabotage designed to validate racism. Their success destroyed the conspiracy against them. When they said the military was sabotaging them, they were told they were paranoid. They were correct. 26. The Manhattan Project was hidden from Vice President Truman. What if the Vice President didn't know about the atomic bomb? The Manhattan Project, developing the atomic bomb, was so secret that Vice President Harry Truman wasn't informed. When FDR died in April 1945, Truman became president and was told about nukes for the first time. 130,000 people worked on the project. Truman wasn't one of them. The government kept a program costing $2 billion, 1940s dollars, and employing a small city secret from the vice president. When people suggested the government was hiding massive secret projects, they were dismissed. The Manhattan Project proved the government can hide enormous programs from everyone, including leadership. If they hid nukes from the VP, what else can they hide? 27. The CIA overthrew democratically elected governments. What if the U.S. toppled governments and installed dictators? The CIA orchestrated coups against democratically elected leaders in Iran, 1953, Guatemala, 1954, Congo, 1960, and Chile, 1973. In Iran, they overthrew PM Mossadegh to protect oil interests, installing the Shah, whose brutality led to the 1979 revolution. In Guatemala, they removed Arbenz to protect United Fruit Company, leading to decades of dictatorship and genocide. In Chile, they helped overthrow Allende, installing Pinochet's murderous regime. These weren't conspiracy theories, they were declassified operations. The CIA admitted them. Regime change for corporate and strategic interests, installing dictators and causing decades of suffering. Democracy is negotiable when profits are involved. 28. Cigarette companies targeted children. What if tobacco companies deliberately marketed to kids? Internal documents revealed that tobacco companies specifically targeted children and teenagers to create lifelong customers. Joe Camel campaigns, candy-flavored cigarettes, product placement in movies kids watched, vending machines near schools, all intentional. Philip Morris internal documents stated, "Today's teenager is tomorrow's potential regular customer." They knew nicotine addiction started young and exploited it. The Master Settlement Agreement exposed thousands of documents proving child targeting strategies. The conspiracy theory that big tobacco recruited children was documented corporate strategy. Addicting kids for profit wasn't an accident, it was a business plan. Legal drug dealing to minors. 29. The Pentagon Papers, government lied about Vietnam. What if the government lied about every aspect of a war? In 1971, Daniel Ellsberg leaked the Pentagon Papers, a classified study showing the U.S. government systematically lied to Congress and the public about the Vietnam War. Presidents from Truman to Nixon knew the war was unwinnable but escalated anyway. They concealed casualties, fabricated progress reports, and misled Americans for political reasons. The New York Times published the papers. Nixon tried to stop them, leading to a Supreme Court case defending press freedom. The government argued for national security. The court ruled for transparency. Everything the anti-war movement said about government lies was proven. The war was based on deception from the start. 58,000 Americans died for lies. 30. Lead poisoning was hidden by the lead industry. Here's proof an industry hid that its product caused brain damage. The lead industry knew since the 1920s that lead caused neurological damage, especially in children. They funded studies to deny it, lobbied against regulations, and attacked scientists who exposed dangers. Lead was in gasoline, paint, pipes, and toys. In the 1970s, independent research confirmed massive lead poisoning in children, causing lower IQs, behavioral problems, and developmental delays. The Clean Air Act, 1970, and lead paint bans followed. The industry fought every regulation while knowing they were poisoning children. Internal documents revealed the cover-up. Millions of children suffered brain damage because corporations hid evidence for profit. The conspiracy lasted 50-plus years. Lead was removed, but the damage is permanent. 31. The FBI tried to blackmail MLK into suicide. What if the FBI sent a civil rights leader a letter telling him to kill himself? In 1964, the FBI sent Martin Luther King Jr. an anonymous letter containing surveillance recordings of his extramarital affairs and a note suggesting he commit suicide before accepting the Nobel Peace Prize. The letter, written by FBI agents under J. Edgar Hoover's COINTELPRO stated, "There is only one thing left for you to do. You know what it is, you are done." The goal: discredit and eliminate King as a civil rights leader. The letter was revealed in 1975 during church committee hearings. The FBI attempted to blackmail a Nobel laureate into suicide. When civil rights activists said the FBI was trying to destroy King, they were called paranoid. They were absolutely right. State-sponsored psychological terrorism against America's most celebrated civil rights leader. And there you have it, 31 conspiracy theories that stopped being theories when the evidence came out. From government mind control and corporate poisoning to coups, cover-ups, and assassinations, all documented, all proven, all real. It's not paranoia if they're actually doing it. These aren't fringe beliefs, they're declassified history. The lesson? Sometimes the crazy people are just early. Sometimes the conspiracy theorists are investigative journalists without institutional backing. And sometimes, the biggest conspiracy is convincing people that conspiracies don't exist. So which one shocked you most? What current conspiracy theory do you think will be proven true in 20 years? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if this journey through verified conspiracies made you question what else might be true, hit that like button and subscribe for more history that proves skepticism is sometimes survival. Stay curious, stay critical, and never stop asking questions.